Hey guys, it's JR. I wanted to walk you through my budget AR9 build and some of the tips and tricks that I've learned while I built it, and maybe save somebody some aggravation and some headache. So let's get started. So I started this based on an existing lower that I had but had never built anything on, just from Zaviar Arms. So I really didn't want this to be an expensive build. This was going to be cheap, cheap, cheap. So from an old build. Let's see, I think my backup sights are from an old build. I already had my trigger. I already had my everything like that. Super cheap upper. I think it's Zaviar Arms. They might be out of Argentina or something like that. Found it online for like $140 or something like that. Got a FM product, Colt bolt carrier, and then I already had some PMags that I put endomag inserts into for the 9mm. The cool thing about the endomag is that they don't require a dedicated 9mm lower. You can use a regular AR15 lower, and they have the ejector built into that mag lip right there. So kind of cool. Couple of the issues that I ran into was my super budget barrel does not love every ammunition, every brand of ammo that you feed it. It hates that, whatever that is, Philippines, I think. I can't figure out why. I don't know if it's the size of the case. Maybe it's a little fatter. I don't know. It did okay with Blazer Brass, and it ran flawlessly with this Perfecta stuff. Regardless, the only issues that I really had with this gun, I took it out to the desert today, shot about 400 rounds through it. Endomags, flawless. They're a good buy. They worked great. Lower, flawless, cheap 2.5 pound trigger, stack of quarters back here to keep my bolt carrier from going more than about 1/8 of an inch past my bolt catch. And then I reused a buffer that I had from another build, but I took all the weights out of it and I melted down enough fishing weights to fill it, and then I reassembled it, weighed it. After I built it, it comes in around 4.7 ounces, I believe. So I didn't spend money on hardly any of this stuff. The issues that I had were the barrel being a little bit picky with the ammo. I got a little frustrated with that until I got home and pulled out some more brands of ammo to try it. And it definitely comes down to, for some reason, it's this manufacturer. And that's what we had out in the desert today. So once we got it running, it was running fine. But if you ever had a round, if you ever chambered a round and then wanted to take it out before you fired it, it was in there really, really tight. So you almost had to mortar the gun, get it up and down, really hit it while you're pulling on the charging handle for it to come out. So we figured out what that issue was. The other issue was with my bolt carrier. So check this guy out. We'll get to those marks later. So this is this is an FM product designed for Colt magazines. I'm not sure if they're what's the other one that they have? They got a Colt, or they anyways. I'm not a huge 9mm guy. So two problems with this guy. First, for whatever reason, I don't know why, but this guy comes all the way down at an angle originally until it meets with the bolt carrier. So the problem I was having was pulling back on this, it would hit where it started, and then it would start to ramp up it like that. Now obviously it's not going very far, but there's enough wiggle room in here so that if it starts angling down and you're pulling pressure on this, which is angling up, you're just wedging the two pieces inside your upper, and then you can't do anything because there's pressure back here from your buffer, and so you're pulling on it, and it's just wedging itself in there tighter. So I hack job dremeled it, took it back, flattened it out. Now my charging handle fits it and makes good solid contact with it. So that's not an issue now. So that solved another issue, which was I had a jam in it and I was trying to pull it back, but the thing was wedged in the upper, and the harder I pulled on the charging handle, the harder it just wedged everything in there, and so that was really aggravating. The other thing that I found out was, and it's something super little. So when this is stripping around off of the magazine, it's contacting it like right there. And then this starts to angle up, goes in the barrel, and then it starts to slide into the pocket there. Well, this side of the brass, I don't know if we can see it very good. Let's see. This side of the brass contacts this part right here. And this was really nice and flat. It was machined really flat, but because it's so thin right there, it's almost a knife edge. And so it was grabbing the brass, which is softer than the steel. It was digging into it, and then it was binding. So this would be sliding forward. Round would start to go into the barrel, but then it would get to a point where it was wedged between the barrel and the bolt carrier, and it was digging into the brass that it wasn't going to slide anymore, and so, you know, you were stuck with something looking like that. So all that I did was I took a little sandpaper block. You can see, let's see if I can get it. You can see it's a little shiny right there because I just took a sandpaper block and just kind of eased it just enough so now it's not cutting into it like a knife. Anyway, so those couple of things are all it took to get this thing to run really, really well. PMags with endomag inserts, super cheap lower, homemade buffer with quarters as a spacer in the back, leftover parts from other builds, super budget upper, couple modifications to my bolt carrier, and then just being careful with the ammo that you pick, and it's a really fun, cheap shooting gun. So there you go. That's been my experience with my budget AR9 build, and that's how you do it.